Another 0-0 draw in the greatest show on earth. Two past winners getting in action later today. And a team that considers themselves contenders. But are they? All of this and more. This is Now Streaming Qatar. So this is Now Streaming Qatar, your show for everything you need ahead of the greatest show on earth. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you so much. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to everyone all across the globe. Thank you for tuning in on our YouTube channel, 876 Stream J8. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel as well. And also we're on Instagram as well, 876 Stream as well, for all the latest content throughout the course of the tournament. And on Twitter, Stream876. So without further ado, let's introduce our panel and look at what we have in store for the day as a whole. To my far right, we have Stefan Hausen. You all remember him from the opening day. And we also have Joel Lee joining us as well. Ladies and gentlemen, how are you both doing?
Doing well. Glad to be here again.
Yeah, glad to be here again. Thank you.
Did that match yesterday against Saudi Arabia wake you guys up?
It certainly did. You know, I was one of the people that decided to wake up and watch it, and I was not disappointed. I was surprised, and that's a good thing. As I said, I'm excited for this World Cup. I'm glad that we got our first real shock of it early days.
And Joel, same for you?
It was definitely a shock, but watching it in the early parts of the game, and you're realizing that Saudi is playing with the impressive high line and dedication to that high defensive line, I realized quickly they're neutralizing Argentina's game. So if Argentina couldn't rework their strategy, that was it.
And Joel, we didn't get a chance to speak about this on Monday in terms of your World Cup memories, you know, your first World Cup memory, one that really stands out to you.
So with the memories, I do remember when we qualified in 1998. I'm pretty sure anybody who was alive remembers that.
Yep.
But from memories, I can't say my first memory in World Cup so much. I remember the 2002 one and Ronaldinho and all of them. But one of the things that really stands out to me is Zidane's last moment in football with the headbutt, the red card, and the walking out. If there could be a mic drop in football, that was it.
Quite a moment indeed. So just to keep you all updated on everything in terms of what we have in store for today, there was a match early today, and that was Croatia against Morocco. That match ended 0-0, and of course 1 point to both teams over in Group F. So we look forward to the next match that is in Group F. That comes your way at 2 o'clock, but the match that is coming our way quite shortly in another half an hour or so, that is Germany, 4-time winners against Japan. But before we go into this match in particular, I just wanted to know from you both as well. Let me start with Joel on this one. The Croatians and the Moroccans, you know, your impressions of what you saw in this opening encounter of the day?
Well, what we're realizing, and we had spoken about this a little bit, is that these Asian teams seem to be coming out here just to enjoy themselves and shock the world. They're playing their games, and they might be the underdogs of each game, but they're showing up, and they're showing up as a nation to be contended with, all of them.
Mm-hmm. And Stefan, your thoughts as well. It seems like, you know, Qatar is not far from the Middle Eastern country, like Saudi yesterday, and so it feels like they're getting good support and a sense of pride just being somewhere close that is not too far from home.
Oh yeah, for sure. You know, as you said, location-wise, these countries are fairly close to Qatar, and you're definitely seeing the support come over for them. They're certainly enjoying it, and I think it's bringing the atmosphere up over there. And when the crowd's having fun, I think everyone usually has fun.
Absolutely, that's definitely something to pay note on. Our producers, Javon Williams and also Jamal Tucker, will let us know quite shortly about a quiz that we have in store for our analysts. They'll let us know quite shortly if that is quite ready for us. But on your screen, a few moments ago, you saw some of the encounters that we have for today. And at 8 o'clock, that is Germany against Japan. At 11, Spain, 2010 winners against Costa Rica. And of course, at 2 o'clock, Belgium against Canada. Stefan, let me start with you on the German side of things. You know, we have the opportunity to see the 11. Thomas Muller is in it, you know, one of the top goal scorers in World Cup history. A lot of debate about his inclusion in the squad. Do you at least think he has a role, even though it might be not as a number 9?
Well, one thing about me is that I certainly don't regard him as an ideal candidate for a number 9 position. I think he thrives when you play him deeper, you give him that freedom to find those spaces, make that final pass or get that final shot off. I'm surprised that he starts, in all honesty. I didn't think that Flick would go that way. I knew he had some issues with his fitness as well, so it's interesting to see him thrown right into the deep end. But, Germany, they have a system that they're fairly comfortable with, and he knows it very well.
Indeed. And Joel, your thoughts as well. Germany has the ability of having so much depth in different positions. The goalkeeping options, like we were speaking earlier, likes of Neuer and Ter Stegen, that again for the coaching staff is a big decision as well.
A very, very big decision. So I was saying before that it seems a lot of coaches this World Cup have decided to mix their squads with a lot of veterans in the game and a lot of the new talent coming up. And I think having Muller in there is a sense of stability. He knows the system, he knows what's going to happen, and I'm pretty sure that's one of the main reasons he's in there currently, to start them off on a stable foot. Neuer, most of these are going to be their last games that we're ever seeing them play for their country, maybe Euros in 2024. But after Neuer is Ter Stegen, and he's coming up, he's biting at it.
So 2026 would be a bit too much for Neuer to be involved.
It's not a stretch, but he would not be the first string. He wouldn't be the first choice. But if he's able to play, I don't see him not in the squad.
Stefan, we've seen evidence, of keepers going in their late 30s, Gigi Buffon and others. So it wouldn't put past you. I wouldn't be surprised or eye-opening if he was to continue.
I think Dino Zoff went at 40. I think, if I remember correctly. So Manuel Neuer being the guy that he is, I'm a goalkeeper enthusiast. I'll say it clearly. Manuel Neuer is the greatest of all time. So I would not be shocked if Manuel Neuer at 40 years old is at another World Cup. I would not be at all. But that just shows the strength of the German goalkeeping department. You have Matt Ter Stegen on the bench. He's been heralded as the one to push out Neuer for probably over 5 years now, and he hasn't done it. He's still a top goalkeeper, and they have top goalkeepers even below that.
Absolutely. Stefan bringing up knowledge from back in 1974 with Dina Zoff. So let's see how these two will do in the quiz. So basically what's going to happen is that it's going to be like a buzzer section, more or less. So I'll ask the question, and then afterwards what will happen is that whoever will buzz first will be identified and will have an opportunity to answer. So we shall see. All the best to both of you. So the viewers at back home, you can also play as well. So the question will come up on the screen. And this is the first question. Who is the only team that didn't lose a game in the 2010 staging of the competition? I remember 2010 was in South Africa. So.
Switzerland, was it?
I think you have to buzz first.
I did.
It was. And I'm telling you, so I know who goes first.
Okay. So you've buzzed. Okay, go ahead.
I said Switzerland, I believe it was.
I'm sorry, but that's incorrect. Would Joy like to go?
I just gonna go with Spain.
Okay. Well, it's New Zealand.
New Zealand?
They drew 3 games.
They drew the 3. That's the team I was thinking of.
Yeah, Switzerland, unfortunately, they lost in the group stages as well. That Spain game was their only highlight of that competition as a whole.
You're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
This question should be a little bit easier. Let's see how the next question looks now. All right. The next question that we'll see, you'll definitely see it on the screen quite shortly. Who is the top goal scorer in the history of the competition?
Yeah, buzz at.
This should be an easy
Miroslav
one.
Klose.
Very good. Well done. Miroslav Klose. Yes, he is the leading goal scorer, 16 goals. He broke the great Ronaldo's record back in 2014. You guys were talking about that 7-1 earlier.
Yeah, that's why it came back to me. I was like, I remember, that's the game.
So Stefan leads 1-0, or there's a champion 1-0.
Champion, let's go.
All right, question number 3 now. Who are the only 2 teams to have won the competition back-to-back?
I feel like I know this and I can't remember the country now.
Only 2 teams have won the competition back-to-back. Meaning, successive years. Stefan?
Joel, you're not helping me here. I believe Brazil.
That's 1.
Can I just take a half point? Italy?
Yeah. Very good. Yeah, Italy, 34-38 and Brazil. Yeah. 58-62. All right. Yes.
We're at 2-0 now.
Yes.
There we go.
Okay, 2-0. All right, Joel's time to press the buzzer. Let's see how this one goes. Name 3 players who've played at 5 competitions. 3 players. And 1 played yesterday.
Are these consecutive competitions?
No, I think it's just
Because I'm
anybody.
just like,
but
it's gonna be
all
hard.
right, let me. Messi,
Okay. Yes, that's one.
that's definitely one.
Yeah, that's one. That's definitely one.
Mexican.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mexican guy.
Mexican guy
Sent up
yesterday.
Marquez.
That's two. That's two. Yeah. Good. And one more.
What is there only one more?
There. No. There's
there's a couple
others.
more,
There are a
right?
couple more. Yeah. You have a couple of options. You have another Mexican. You can name a German. Yeah.
Matos? Luther Matos?
Good job. Yeah. Lothar Matthäus, Germany.
Mateus, yes.
Wow. Okay. Stefan goes up 3-0.
5 competitions.
One more question. One more question,
Yes.
guys.
I feel
All
like
right.
Joel's not playing.
No,
And people back home are playing as well. Let's see. Now, one more question for you guys. This is engaging. We should do this with all our panelists. Okay, Joel should get this one. Who is the only Asian team to play in the
is
semi-final?
that because I'm Asian?
No, far from it. Far from it. It's just the conversations
Oh,
that
my
we had
screen locked
earlier.
my screen.
Yeah.
Dude.
Hint: 2002.
Did you buzz?
No, I didn't buzz, but we just talked.
So
And I feel like it's
Yeah.
no, I feel like I'm cheating now.
No,
I'll
not
go
at all.
then. I'll just, I believe it was South Korea.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
I feel like
Well
I'm
done.
cheating now. I can't do that.
There we go. There. That was fun, wasn't it?
That was fun.
There we go. Yeah. So Stefan Hausen wins the first ever stream challenge.
Now I feel like what it's like to be you when you won that competition.
Yeah, Stefan Hausen the Great doing some absolute great things. And Horatio Williams in the comments, Stefan the Encyclopedia. Buzz, South Korea. Yes, very, very good job there. So guys, really, really appreciate that. And we'll see. Do you guys want this back for other panelists? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And definitely our producers will work on that. We do have a couple of inserts to play for you guys as it relates to everything that has transpired. Up next, as we know, is the 11 o'clock fixture is the Spain versus Costa Rica game. Our producers will let us know if the tactics for that game at the in terms of the pre-recorded video will be ready for that quite shortly. That is in terms of Spain and their approach in this competition and the approach that they had in previous years as well. Jamal, is everything ready? We hope to hear from him quite shortly to see if that video in particular is ready. Spain, Costa Rica, firstly as well, Stefan, Costa Rica, they're known for coming to the tournament and just showing up with some results. We saw 2014 in Brazil, Uruguay game and beating Italy as well.
Yeah.
Brian Reed's 37 and still going.
Yeah, that was probably one of the more enjoyable moments in World Cup history for me because I was one of the few people that actually picked Costa Rica to come out of that group.
That's true.
And they did end up winning that group.
Yeah.
A lot of people were shocked by that. But Costa Rica, as a CONCACAF enthusiast, not a hater,
Yeah.
I like to see our CONCACAF teams do well. They've had a system for years that's worked for them. Good players. They're obviously approaching their end. This is an old team. Let's not joke about this. But no, it's a good matchup. They've played in the past, I believe.
Yeah.
And they've always had good games with Spain. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's. I'm sure you remember that conversation 8 years ago with David Lawson as well. You're the only one that said Uruguay and Costa Rica,
Yeah.
while we're saying England and
Yeah.
Italy. So you've always been realistic.
That was a good one for me. I looked very smart back then.
Yeah, absolutely, always spot on there. The Spanish, Joel, as well. Your thoughts about how things has changed. Not the Xavi, Iniesta era, but still a team that passed around a bit.
Right. So with Spain, they're definitely changing their mode of play. It's not the same. They're should we call it modernizing their game a little bit. Playing against Costa Rica is always a wild card. You really don't know what they're getting into. As you said, it's pretty much this is our last team, and it's fairly old, but there is experience there. They know what they're going to do. If Spain can get it together, it will be a very interesting game to watch. If Spain wants to be a strainer, it's still going to be fun either way.
Yeah. And just to note about the point that Joel was making regarding the age and Stefan as well with Brian Louise at 37. You have Navas, who is 35. Joel Campbell is 30. Kendall Waston 34. Brian Oviedo, you guys remember him from his days in England, 32 now. So this very much could be last generation. Good news for Jamaica if it's 2026. Let us know your
Fingers
thoughts.
crossed. Fingers crossed.
Yes, definitely. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Like the video and also let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Great to see some people giving their tune as well. Dexter's Labs, Navas is going to be big for Costa Rica. Spain should win, but that means nothing in this World Cup. #CurryGoat. Yeah, quite an interesting in terms of
the thing with Spain. I just want to jump in.
Yeah, yeah.
You know that whoever Spain plays, despite their changes, their modernization of their system, they're always going to dominate the football. That's ingrained in them. They're always going to pass teams off the park. It's just, can they find the goals at the end of those passes? That's been my concern with them. But I think they might have some solutions.
Absolutely. Let's play a pre-recorded video as it relates to Spain. What they did that helped them in 2010 that perhaps they don't quite have in this World Cup. Give us your thoughts. All right, so we hope to get that insert sorted out quite quickly. But yeah, Stefan, you're speaking about Spain and the solutions that they have. But Joel, your thoughts about that Spanish team as well. No David De Gea again, the Casillas era, so quite changes all around. Not only that midfield aspect,
The line is completely changed as well.
Surprised no Ramos as well.
The thing about it is, I'm happy to see the change. We're going to miss them, but again. This is a game that we're going to see quite a few international players retiring. Demario already said that he plans to retire from international duty after this.
Yeah.
Whether he follows Messi and comes out of retirement,
right.
to see. But it's nice to get the new talent up there. If we had too much of the veterans, we're just not going to see it, and it's just not going to. So they have their chance to show out, and I feel they will do it. Most of them are doing it, as we even said with Saudi. You write off certain teams, but they're showing out. With France's game, and everybody expected Mbappe to really be the star. I mean, it was very good team goals. It wasn't just him. He played his part, did his thing. With England, they did the same thing. It wasn't Kane scoring any of the goals as people expected.
Right.
6 goals and none of them from Kane. So it's good to see the new talent coming up, the youngsters coming up and showing what they can do, because they are going to be the future.
Absolutely. Stefan, we had a slight conversation about this on Sunday, but on Spain's perspective, which player you're most looking forward to see? Would it be Fati or Pedri or somebody else, for this tournament itself?
I think there's a couple ways to answer that question.
Yeah.
The player who I think is the most important in regards to Spain potentially winning this World Cup, I think it would be a toss-up between Fati and Iran, mostly because goals win games, and Spain have had some issues finishing chances. As I said, when Spain play football, they're going to dominate it. They're going to have the ball. They're going to pass teams off the field. It's just, can they find that difference maker? So in my mind, Fati, Ferran Torres, those guys, they have to step up. Morata will do a job. You know what he does? He creates a space. He'll get in the goal here and there. But who's going to be that difference maker? Who's going to propel them to the actual title? That remains to be seen. But you can look at another perspective. You just want to look at top players on that team. I think Pedri is as a phenom. I love watching him play. Club and country, I think he's incredibly important. Technically superb. He's probably, talent-wise, the best talent on the team. But I think Fati's potential difference-making ability is what will push them over or bring them back.
Yeah, it's interesting the point that Stefan made in relation to possession. The last time that Spain recorded less than 60% possession in a game, we have to go back to March 2020 against Germany, and that was just 59%. So it shows that they're dominant, definitely, on the ball. Joel, Sergio Busquets, like the grandpa of the team, everybody's just looking to him for advice and rekindling the memories from South Africa 2010. A pivotal component to that Spanish side still at 34.
Yeah, pivotal, as I mentioned before, it's a stability. It's somebody who knows what's going to happen. It's somebody who can talk to the team with the wisdom of having been there before. Again, what they bring to a team, that morale is something. But, I mean, he's getting up there. I don't know how much we're going to really expect. But what they bring to a team, that back end that we never see, is always important. So having those players that have been there, know what you're up against, know the pressure that you feel. It's important. It's very important, and he's been a stable player for them. Still miss my Piol.
Yes, indeed. And as it relates to the Sergio Busquets part of things, we're going to firstly try that video one more time, and then afterwards we continue our discussion.
So it's that time again where we do another tactical preview of another team. And in this video, we're going to look at España. Yes, that is Spain. And as you can see on your screen, this is Spain. But you might say, but Simon, this is not a current Spain squad, though, is it? No, it is not a current Spain squad. But what I can tell you about this Spain squad in particular is that this is a Spain squad that went on to win the World Cup 12 years ago in South Africa in 2010. Now, I want to point out an example here. They had that solid back four, Captain Viet left back, Sergio Ramos right back, Gerard Piqué and Carlos Puyol centre half, Iker Casillas in net, Xabi Alonso, Sergio Busquets in front of them, the dynamic Andres Iniesta, Xavi Hernandez, and up top, David Villa behind the centre forward in Fernando Torres. So, a key component of some recent World Cup winning teams is the physical imposing presence. At times you have games where you will need that individual as the X factor. France, Olivier Giroud in 2018, 6 feet 4 inches tall, did a good job for them. You go back to 2006, the Italians with Luca Toni. 2010, Spain, we know their style of play, don't we? They're the type of team that when they're in possession of the ball, they're looking centrally to try to generate possession. And when they do that, what happens is that the opposition tends to clog the middle. And it's harder. It's harder to press teams that do have that sort of rhythm. So what happens? Well, there was a game at the 2010 World Cup where this X factor for Spain worked. And who was that individual? That was Fernando Llorente. Substitute made in the 50th minute. Fernando Torres was removed, and Fernando Llorente came on. 63rd minute, 5 minutes after he came on. He held the ball, and four players swarmed him from Portugal in the round of 16. Xavi was able to find space as Llorente held the ball well. Xavi got the ball and played a cheeky back heel to David Villa. David Villa, 1-0 Spain. They marched on to the quarterfinals to play Paraguay. They beat Paraguay 1-0. They beat Germany in the semifinals 1-0. And of course, they defeated the Netherlands in the final 1-0. That was critical for Spain in 2010. In 2022, this is what we're looking at from a Spain perspective. This is the team. 4-3-3, high position, same sort of pass move like we've seen for Spain the last 14 years from Euro 2008.
Right, so apologies for the audio quality on that one. Hopefully we can get that rectified. But basically the point I wanted to share with you guys is that usually of past winners, Stefan, normally teams would have that different dimension in terms of the big man. Spain had Llorente, Italy had Luca Toni in that aspect, France with a Giroud. There might not always be that focal point, but that different dimension often helps as well.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you don't see that 6'4", 6'5" guy on the Spanish team. Is that a hindrance, or based on Spain's style of play, they're not necessarily looking for that long ball sort of?
I think in tournament football, a variation of some sort is always incredibly important. Llorente was a variation for Spain. They had the ability to go long to him and play off of him. But another variation that Spain had for a long time was the likes of Jesus Navas, who they could just put on the flank and they could just say run. He was a big component of Llorente's success. Spain, I think that they do have those variants on the bench. One that I thought would have been Adama Traore, just for the fact that he offers something very different. They didn't select him; they've gone in the other directions. But I wouldn't be too worried variation-wise. It's similar to what we're talking about in regards to England. Yeah. When I said that England are not winning or losing the World Cup based on Ivan Toney not being there, once again, I don't think Spain are winning or losing the World Cup based on a 6'5" centre forward not being there. What's going to get them the win will be the style of football that they've come to play, that we've come to admire over the past decade or so. So yeah, that's where the focus should be. They do have variance, but it's on the field, the starting 11. That's what will determine how far Spain go.
Okay. Yeah, before we get Joel's reaction, here's just some information on the Spanish team. Of course, they won the World Cup. They were in 2010 semi-finalists back at the Euros. The last World Cup, not necessarily impressive, and the World Cup before that, of course, that champions curse as well in 2014, losing to the likes of the Netherlands and, of course, to Chile as well in the group stages back in Brazil. Joel, you were looking at the tactics and looking at the likes of Puyol and Piqué, etc., and just reminiscing.
Reminiscing. It's an era of football. Everything's changing. The styles of play, they're trying to modernize it. They're trying to change it up a little bit, and I applaud them. But certain teams we know are in a systematic state of mind regardless. You grew up in a system. Spain, Argentina, we saw them struggling to change our system. I think if Spain gets it right and they do a very good passing game, you can take Costa Rica out of what they're going to do. The only issue with that now is Costa Rica can get very frustrated. We already spoke about they're a little bit older. They might be a little bit more experienced, but their tackles might come late. So we were talking a little bit earlier about a possibility of a lot of injuries on Spain's team based just on brash tackles that could come in if you're frustrated. Pass the ball around. I think they'll have like Morato can go in there, can score. You pass the ball around enough, you pull them out. They can create those spaces to score.
Yeah.
So that would be good. Torres as well. So
Yeah, that is.
Depends on how they're gonna style their football this time.
All right, so we've had a chance to look at the Spain-Costa Rica encounter. Up next, we're going to look at Belgium versus Canada. CONCACAF again in action. CONCACAF so far unbeaten in the tournament. Mexico, their 0-0 draw against Poland. And of course, the United States, their 1-1 draw against Wales. What will the Canadians do? Another CONCACAF team in the mix. Of course, Costa Rica taking on Spain a little bit earlier, but at 2 o'clock Jamaica time, Belgium against Canada. We'll have some information on the screen quite shortly, but just to take some of the comments, Alexa da Costa says them could have carried Thiago Alcantara. An option there. Horatio Williams, Adama would have been a surprise addition. Not the most clever player in my opinion, LOL. Mohammed Saif Ahmad says, glad you brought back Stefan. Certainly getting some love in the comments. Alexi goes on, Thiago is one of the best players in the world at what he does, if not the best. Interesting. Who are the goal threat for the Spain squad? That's my worry. Horatio Williams says Ferran Torres. Yes, a
my
goal
worry
threat.
as well. It's my worry as well.
Absolutely. So certainly a worry for everyone. So Belgium against Canada. Stefan, are they one of your contenders, Belgium, generally speaking?
Generally speaking, no. I thought they came to the natural end of their cycle at the last World Cup, and I thought they did superb there. And since then, things have fallen off. When I look at tournament football, I always say what you need to win is a system, and you need difference makers. I think Belgium have a system. I think they have a difference maker in Kevin De Bruyne. 2, if you want to include the goalkeeper in the situation. But based on how Belgium play football, if Courtois needs to be a difference maker, something is going very wrong for them. They don't want to be defending consistently. It's an interesting set of players. As Joel mentioned earlier, they have a very interesting mix of veterans, youth, but yeah, I don't have them high up on my list.
So before we get Joel's information, her thoughts about the Belgian team, just some information on Belgium. Their best World Cup run was 4 years ago. In 2018, they go by the nickname the Red Devils. And of course, they had that shock exits, to many people would say, in Euro 2020 against the Italians and of course the Welsh back in 2016, 4th back in the World Cup in 1986, and of course still led by the Spaniard Roberto Martinez. Joel, for you, are they a contender, or one of your teams that could win the tournament itself?
Looking at their squad list, they have the ability to can make it far. Whether they can get it together and put it all on the field and go there, I'm not 100% sure. But looking at their squad, they have the ability to get goals. Mm-hmm. They have the midfielders, their defense. Again, it's down to Courtois for some of it. But we had spoken. I mean, they're not going to care if they win 5-2. They're not going to care if they win 4-3. They're going to care that they win. And they have the ability for the goals, but if their system doesn't come together and gel perfectly on the field, so if that penny doesn't drop, it's a no-go for me. I see them coming out of the group, but not necessarily much further if it's not all clicking.
Yeah. Stefan, I mean, you've spent some time in Canada. Have you had a chance to catch up with people in Canada, how the buzz is, if there's excitement, and also being able to, chat to some of the players that might take the field later?
No, there's definite general excitement for Canada finally being at the World Cup. It's been a long journey for them, and the national program over the last let's say past a decade has certainly generated buzz on the men's side. It's good to see them get where they are. They have an exciting young team coming as well. They topped CONCACAF qualifiers very impressively as well. In regards to your other question about if I've spoken to anybody in the camp, as I've mentioned that I've known a couple of the players, but since the actual announcement of the World Cup squads, I sent my messages. I wish them well, but I've left them to do the business. So I haven't spoken to anybody since then.
For you, what would be, considered success or acceptable? Is a round of 16, or it's not really about the tangibles, maybe the intangibles of playing at a World Cup, scoring, being competitive?
I think it's a bit of both, As I said, it's been a long journey for them. They definitely wanted to get here, and they've gotten here impressively. No, every footballer says the same thing. We go out there to win. Let's be honest. They go out there to win. They want to do the best. They want to maximize on their potential. But can this Canadian team come out of this group? It wouldn't shock me. I wouldn't necessarily say that it's on the pipeline for them, but they have a good, solid team, and they have players that are capable of making difference-making moments. But no, I think the most part, the biggest intention is to just go there, play the football that they play, announce themselves to the world, and not embarrass themselves.
Yeah, that's well said there, Stefan. So we're going to have some facts on the Canadian team. As you've seen, this is their first World Cup appearance since 1986. One of 6 teams that haven't scored a goal yet at a World Cup, so that will be a landmark that they're trying to break. Of course, semi-finals back in the Gold Cup in 2021, and they'll certainly be amping up their energy and excitement ahead of co-hosting the next World Cup. That will be 2026, of course, with USA, Canada, and Mexico. Atiba Hutchinson, their captain, will be the oldest captain at this World Cup at 39 years and 285 days old. So he's somebody to look out, and also one of Caribbean heritage as well. And speaking about that, you also have a number of players in the Canadian squad with Jamaican links within the team as well, going from defence to attack. Kamal Miller in the Canadian camp, Derek Cornelius, also part of the unit as well. And then you go to attacking outlook of Junior Hoylett, who was very close to representing Jamaica, Tejan Buchanan, who is one of the rising stars of Canadian football, and of course Kyle Lauren, the top scorer from the World Cup qualifiers. Joel, are you looking forward to see what the Canadians will have in store this afternoon?
I mean, always looking forward to seeing what CONCACAF will do. Again, what I've been noticing a lot this World Cup or these games, are that teams that you consider underdogs are showing up. You have, I don't want to say an ego of going into expecting to just beat certain teams, but there is that, it appears there's an air of arrogance that you expect to beat certain teams, but we have to remember these are the finals. Everybody played to get in there. Yeah. They're coming up to represent their country, and with the Asians, they have a lot of national pride in them. The Canada, again, not having qualified for such a long time, they have something that they may want to just prove to themselves as well. Yeah. And it's going to be an interesting game. I see no general walkovers in these games. With Canada, it's going to be interesting to see how they play against the Belgium team. And with the draw earlier in the game, in that group stage, it blows the group wide open again. See what happens.
Yeah, we'll definitely see what happens. Just before we go, let's take a couple of comments and also the final reactions from our panel as well. Alexi says, I think Canada is good enough to go to the quarterfinals. Interesting. Love the confidence there. Horatio Williams, Canada is spot on. Alexi, spot on, I agree. IT pushes Tejan, my cousin. Okay, great. Very, very nice.
Big up your cousin.
Yeah, big him up for all of us. So first, let's Stefan, Japan against the Germans. You're going with the Germans?
Yeah, a big fan of Japanese football on a whole. Yeah. I've mentioned this in the last time, but I think Germany have enough to edge it. I don't foresee them stalling as they did in the last World Cup. So yeah, I'll go with the German team.
Spain, Costa Rica.
I'm going with the Spanish as well. Okay. Once again, I just think they have enough quality to see themselves through.
And the Canadians to edge the Belgians.
I'm gonna do something I don't usually do, and I'm gonna go with my heart. My heart is telling me that Canada's going to cause an upset. Wow. But I'm going to do something I also don't do. I'm going to predict a draw for this. I usually don't go for a draw in games, but I'm going to say Canada will go out there and they'll show
Okay.
show themselves and get a draw.
Manuel Neuer and the Germans.
The Germans have my heart. I'm definitely going with Germany. However, I don't discount the
Japanese?
the Japanese. Their dedication. When they play, like, they follow their game plan. So if they have their game plan to neutralize them, I see the game possibly going differently. But I'm going for Germany. For Spain, Costa Rica, I'm gonna edit at a 2-1 for Spain.
Okay.
And for Belgium, Canada,
Goals?
goals are gonna happen.
Okay.
I will go for Belgium, but I see Canada putting up a strong fight in any case.
Okay. All right. Well, there we have it from our panel. I've gone with Germany 1, Japan 1. That's my outlier for the day. Spain 1, Costa Rica 0, and Belgium 4, Canada 2. So hopefully we'll get some goals. 3-0 all draw so far in the World Cup. Hopefully that comes to an end soon. We love the excitement. We love the drama. Thank you both very much for your discussion. We really, really appreciate it. Joel will join us again in the afternoon to give her feedback from the 4 games. And you'll definitely see Stefan later in the week for more analysis. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for tuning in. We really, really appreciate it. Join us again at 4 o'clock where we'll have our post-game show, recap the games from today, and look ahead to tomorrow. Many people say the World Cup starts tomorrow because Brazil are playing, but it started on Sunday.
Jamaica.
All right, folks, take care and see you guys at 4 o'clock. Bye-bye for now.